could it be some real trouble ahead for Jacqueline Fernandez in the alleged money laundering case related to conman Sukesh Chandrashekar? Well, this as a Delhi court pulled up the Enforcement Directorate for what it called a pick and choose policy in the case against actor Jacqueline Fernandez. The probe agency was asked why it hadn't arrested Jacqueline yet despite issuing a lookout circular and when other accused are in jail. The case pertains to the Enforcement Directorate investigation into the dealings of conman Sukesh Chandrashekar involving a 200 crore rupees extortion case. The court was hearing the bail application for Jacqueline Fernandez. The bail was being opposed by the Enforcement Directorate. And here's what the Enforcement Directorate has alleged. They have said that Jacqueline did not cooperate with the investigation. They say that details were revealed by her only when she was confronted with evidence. She enjoyed, used and possesses about 7.15 crore rupees, and she can use this money or the financial backing that she has to flee the country, and this is, I'm quoting the ED here, saying by hook or by crook. Now, the court is likely to announce its decision on Jacqueline Fernandez's bail request tomorrow. She was granted interim bail earlier on. Arvind is now joining us with more details on the story. Arvind, what could these remarks by the court mean for Jacqueline Fernandez?
Maha, if you could see this, the course of investigation, the Enforcement Directorate taking cognizance of Delhi Police affair initiated a money laundering probe into this alleged 200 crore extortion by conman Sukesh Chandrashekar. So, during the course of investigation, the Enforcement Directorate almost arrested over 10 people in connection with this case, including Sukesh Chandrashekar, his wife, and also his known associates who helped him in this extortion and also sheltering the proceeds of crime in this particular case, because the amount involved here is almost 200 crore. That is, conman Sukesh Chandrashekar allegedly extorted over 200 crore from the former Ranbaxy promoter's family. So, taking cognizance of Delhi Police affair, Enforcement Directorate initiated a money laundering probe, and that's where the agency got to know almost 7 crore was spent by Sukesh Chandrashekar on Jacqueline Fernandez and her family members, and that's where the agency called Jacqueline Fernandez to investigation, and she also gave the details, the kind of gifts that she received from Sukesh Chandrashekar. So what Enforcement Directorate did after that was that without arresting her, the Enforcement Directorate filed a charge sheet against Jacqueline Fernandez. The third supplementary charge sheet was filed in this case, naming Jacqueline Fernandez also as an accused for aiding and also helping Sukesh Chandrashekar in this money laundering process. And that's why, because she has been arraigned as an accused, now she has to get a bail. Though she was not arrested by the Enforcement Directorate during the course of the investigation, but when someone is charge sheeted as an accused, that particular person has to get secure bail from the court, and that's where Jacqueline Fernandez filed the bail plea before the Delhi court. Though the Delhi court gave an interim bail, now the final bail, the regular bail plea has been posted for tomorrow, where the Delhi court will be giving its order tomorrow.
All right, Arvind, many thanks for joining us with all those details. Let me now go across to our two guests who are joining us here on the show. Mohit Paul, he's an advocate with the Supreme Court, and Manvi Taneja, actor, is also joining us here on the show. Mohit Paul, coming first to you. While the court wrapped the Enforcement Directorate, asking them or rather questioning their pick and choose policy, so to speak, what could it ultimately mean for Jacqueline Fernandez, as her bail application details will be revealed only tomorrow? Does it look like possible jail for her?
Well, it depends, actually, to be very honest. Ideally, she's moved an anticipatory bail petition, and the court could then maybe protect her for at least maybe 4 to 5 days and tell the police authorities that they need to give her a summon in case they wish to arrest her, and then she'll have to actually go and ask for further protection from the courts then. But so yes, this pick and choose policy is obviously something to look into, and quite a few courts nowadays in the country are getting awake to this whole fact, and therefore that's the reason why this pick and choose policy is going. Why this pick and choose policy is going on by these agencies? That's coming under the scanner. Yesterday, the trial court in Bombay has passed an order with regard to the Shiv Sena MP with regard to the same thing only, similar circumstances, where they chose to arrest certain people whereas did not arrest the others. So that actually inures to the benefit of the other accused, if you look at it. And that could be the case over here as well, you know.
So we'll try and understand from you, Mohit, as well, why certain people are jailed in a particular case, certain get away during a particular period. But Manvi, before that, I want to come to you. Do you think her celebrity status is working in her favor or against her over here?
See, it totally depends, because we need to understand the inquiry was set initially for Jacqueline to establish the fact if she was aware of Sukesh Chandrashekar's criminal background. And when you want to be in a relationship or you are in a relationship, they tend to hide their real identity. And believe me, a wife or a girlfriend is the last person to know about a man's earning. I will give you an example here. Monica Bedi, who is a wife of an underworld Don Abu Salim, she was in a relationship and then later on she was married to him. Does not mean that she was involved in his criminal activities. Similarly here, if I compare it, and then eventually she was also get away with the case. And here, if we compare it with Jacqueline, she was receiving gifts, doesn't mean that she was involved in Sukesh's criminal background. She was not at all aware of his misdeed. I also want to include one more thing, that Sukesh used to manipulate his voice by using certain softwares, and he used to make real calls, pretending that calls are coming from law ministry and home ministry with no number flashing. How difficult it would be for him to manipulate things for Jacqueline or maybe any other female about his actual work and identity.
All right. So Mohit, the point that Manvi is making, that if Sukesh Chandrashekar could dupe so many people and, fake numbers from home ministry and other places, then it's not difficult for him to have duped Jacqueline Fernandez as well. Do you think that Jacqueline Fernandez does have a basis in her case where she can slip out of the case by suggesting that she was not aware that these were proceeds of crime? After all, these were gifts given to her while she was possibly in a relationship and she was not aware of it.
Well, see, that is for her defense lawyers to argue out, and that's the best case which she has right now. But what needs to be seen is when the court is actually interrogated, when the officials have also interrogated her, what was her answer to it? I was just trying to catch up on the proceedings that took place in the court today. The special prosecutor said that she's been very evasive in her answering. So if she's been evasive in her answering, then that's something which goes against her, and then they're trying to build a case against her. So all that needs to be looked into, and it's a little too soon to comment as to whether she was really an accomplice or not, because we really don't know what happens in four corners, right, within four walls. So one can't really comment as to what really transpired between the two of them. And for her today to turn back and say that she was duped, it's very easy to say because the person is a
Mohit, can you help us understand what constitute proceeds of crime? Because here, this was not direct money, possibly, that she was getting. This was in the form of gifts. A cat, I think an expensive cat, a horse. That is why I'm asking you now, even though the Enforcement Directorate might want to attach much of the proceeds of crime, how would a person who's receiving those gifts, how would the ED establish that the person was aware that these particular gifts were out of proceeds of crime?
So not only is the case with regard to her about proceeds of crime, that gets attached, that's another issue. But I think what the prosecutor is trying to build is whether she was aware or whether she was an accomplice with Sukesh Chandrashekar while he was doing these activities and duping people. And if she was aware of it and if she was an accomplice to it, then the case against her becomes graver. And that's what I believe the prosecution is going to be really attacking on.
Manvi, I want to come to you now because from some of the details that have come across of the questioning, and today the Enforcement Directorate in fact has made very serious charges as well, suggesting that she has apparently 7.15 crore rupees. She's financially sound. She can flee the country by hook or by crook. These are the words used by the ED. Doesn't this make it appear that the Enforcement Directorate does believe that that Jacqueline Fernandez may not perhaps be clean, but then what explains them not arresting her?
I have few points to make here. See, according to Jacqueline's lawyer, she's cooperating with ED in her every possible manner. A question arise here is that why ED is opposing Jacqueline's bail now when they had the power to arrest at the time of filing a charge sheet. Normally, if accused is not arrested under an investigation until normally accused is not arrested under an investigation until filing a charge sheet. Here in this case, it's Jacqueline. She's entitled for a relief now, and bail should be granted to her if she's cooperating, and there's not much of a case according to me, and I think the lawyer will also agree with me. And if she is not able to answer ED's question, she would have been arrested earlier also, and in this case also. I believe we should wait for the court's order for tomorrow, because it totally depends on how much ED is able to convince the court that she is not able, she's not cooperating, or she might temper the evidence, and how much the court believes on investigating agencies.
Manvi, also, you know, as an actor yourself, you know how celebrities have to deal with fans who sometimes can shower them with gifts. Now, if it becomes imperative or the onus, you know, lies with the celebrity themselves to figure out whether the gifting is being done by clean money or not, do you think there will be too much pressure on the celebrities themselves, or do you think that this is an example that is being set now for celebrities to be more careful?
Yes, of course, Jacqueline is, since this is the first celebrity case which has come up like this, and now I think everybody will be, as in it will be an eye-opener for the industry to be very conscious about people, because see, being a celebrity, we meet so many people. We can go to some events or maybe shoot. So we have interaction with many people, and it is very difficult to do a background check before meeting a people. And here, as for the sources, she was with a relationship with Sukesh Chandrashekar. So I think she was not involved in the whole, as in whatever sources he was taking money from. But let the court decide what exactly is going to be for tomorrow.
Mohit, I want to understand from you that if the ED is able to, and how will they prove that at any given point in time, maybe not initially, but at some point, Jacqueline Fernandez figured out that this is a conman, and that she did not stop receiving those gifts, or maybe perhaps even cash from him, as some allegations have been made that they were passed on to some members of her family. How difficult would that be for the ED to establish?
Well, it's definitely difficult for sure, because of the reason, that's the reason why they've actually not even been able to arrest her till now, I believe. And the delay has been caused because of that, because they need to have a foolproof case against her. And that's the only reason, that's the only time when they will actually move into action and arrest her. And I think that's the difficulty which they are facing with regard to the fact that they've already called her for investigation once, if I'm not mistaken. They could have actually asked her to join again, which they did not. And they have not really delayed the whole matter. And it's been a little counterproductive for them, I feel, as of now.
Also, you know, Mohit, in an unrelated case, we've seen the Narcotics Control Bureau getting a rap last time after the Aryan Khan case for going after a particular person with some perhaps wrong intentions of some officers there. Do you think the agencies are more careful now when they deal with celebrities, because those allegations can be put forth?
It's not about them being a little cautious with regard to celebrities. They're supposed to do it with each and every citizen. See, so I think I wouldn't say that it's the celebrity status which is playing in her favor, but it would actually be that they're just being cautious that they should not get unnecessarily rapped for having had brought up a false case against a person who could have, who didn't really participate in the crime.
Manvi, you are saying that this does set an example for celebrities and for the industry, because you all interact with many people, and then it will, you know, it certainly gives you all a sense that you need to be more careful. But can that line be drawn? After all, the celebrity status itself is achieved by the number of people who adore you.
Exactly. It is very difficult to draw a line because, see, we meet so many people at events and shoot and wherever we go, because it is very difficult to do a background check on each and every people. And though we, celebrity, they have a full team, they have a team of a good number of people who can do a check, but it is very difficult to do a background check. But yes, one can be very careful, and whatever in terms of gift, because gifts are such, we cannot, you cannot justify them because you cannot take it in white. And going to for an event or doing any inauguration, you receive gifts. You tend to receive gifts, and you have seen there are few celebrities who were summoned for question by ED, but they have given a clean chit. And here in case of Jacqueline, yes, you just mentioned Aryan Khan case. They were more careful with Jacqueline because later on Aryan was given a clean chit, and there were no evidence found in this case of Jacqueline. That's why she was not taken into custody.
Mohit, we have the final 2 minutes left. I want to also, I want you to weigh in on the fact that the court has today wrapped the Enforcement Directorate not just on the pick and choose policy, but they are also questioning why a lookout circular was issued when ultimately no arrest has been made. What is the procedure like?
So I think there are two different things altogether. The lookout circular has been actually issued because they feel that she will flee the country. And her advocates, as a matter of fact, said that she wanted to go and visit her mother on 2 occasions. She wrote to the agencies also about it, but the agencies have kept silent about it. So that's the other aspect of it, that you have a lookout circular which is issued against a person, yet you're not really moving. So you've been cautious that you don't want the person to leave the shores of this country. But if you have a case against that person, you're not really moving at a decent pace and decent speed again with regard to it, and you're just towing a particular different line altogether. So that's the multiple things which the court really had very important questions to ask from the prosecutor. From
the Enforcement Directorate. One more quick question, and this is with regards to, the fact that, and you were making a reference to that case of Sanjay Raut as well. Now, in many cases in the recent past, especially with the ED, we have seen that they have made non-cooperation in investigation as a basis for the arrest. In this case today, the ED is telling the court that she is not cooperating with them, and that is why they are opposing the bail plea. Then, is that reason enough for the court to have made that remark today about the pick and choose policy?
See, the reason that's the best case which the prosecution had, that she is being evasive in her answers. Now, the question which one will ask is that whether they sent any summons to her, did they ask her to join the investigation again? And if she did, whether she joined the investigation or not at that particular point of time. Now, the court, while maybe protecting her, would obviously put on certain conditions. Then it is up to the Enforcement Directorate to ensure, or to actually show to the appellate court, that these directions are being flouted by her, and whether maybe she has to report to the police or something like that, and what are the witnesses that she can actually tamper with. So that's another aspect of the matter that really the ED has to answer.
All right. Mohit, Paul and Manvi, both of you, many thanks for joining us here on this discussion.